And it says we're live.
It does, but it lies.
Yeah.
So let's see. Support the blanket fort and keep the air conditioning on, and then tonight the heat, and then the air conditioning, and you get the drift.
Yeah.
Our sponsor, Among the Leaves Tees, snarky t-shirts for all your uses. tinyurl.com/Among the Leaves Tees. Our other sponsor, the one that wakes us up in the morning and gives us the energy to come on here and be entertaining to you. We hope we're entertaining. King Harv's Coffees. They are currently having a sale. They're anticipating some price raises in the upcoming months. And so to celebrate that, they are making sure that there's a sale first. So go shop King Harv's, and remember, let them know where you found them.
That's an interesting marketing technique.
Can you?
It's an interesting marketing technique to have a sale before you raise the prices. So from a consumer point of view, the first thing you're going to do is go buy a bunch of stuff.
Right.
To beat the price raise.
Yes.
And then when you do have to pay the raised prices, it's a bigger sticker shock.
Well, but not only that, but they kind of shoot themselves in the foot by having a sale right before they raise prices. But
on the other hand, if they get you started on a coffee that you decide you just can't live without, you're willing to pay a little bit more because it lowered the bar of entry to try it in the first place.
Yes.
So, and given King's Harv's coffees, some of those coffees are really good and not something you're going to find elsewhere.
Yeah.
So,
and they're not all that expensive when you compare them to any of the other.
No, they're really not that expensive. I mean, I have spoiled Sanford, moved him from the Aldi's plastic tub o' coffee to King Harv's, and I just got in an order from another place to try it out called Stocking Mill Coffee, and I've got Swamp Fox is one of the brews that I got.
Well, he says the first hit is a sale. Yeah.
Yes. First hit is on sale. With a book, or if you're in person, the first hit can be free.
Yeah.
Because you can snippet the first few chapters of a book, or if you visit a shop in person, you can taste test. But after that, when you're hooked, then they've got you.
Well, that's kind of what happened with my reading down at Pecan.
Mm-hmm.
Because a couple of people in there had never read any of my books.
Ah, that's always
nice. And the wife came up to me afterwards and said, "That's an interesting style of writing. I've got to go see what you've got."
Yeah.
And the husband came up to me next morning and kind of grumpily said, "My wife was up till 2:00 in the morning reading your damn book."
That happened to me twice at Pecan. Right as the dealer's room was opening, in fact, I think we weren't even officially open yet, someone came through and bought a couple of books. One of them was Pixie Noir.
Yeah.
She's like, "I'm going to try this one first." And then the next day she caught me and bought the other two because she'd read the first chapter and was like, I need them all.
Yeah.
And then my reading, I read the first chapter from Supporting Ragnarok, and then had a small run of purchases and people telling me that they downloaded and bought it during the reading.
Yeah.
So, reading at a con can totally be a good way to hook in your new readers, people that might not have heard from you before.
Yep.
So, and it can be a good way as a reader, if you're at a con, to try out authors you haven't experienced before.
Yeah.
So, and usually readings are only a half an hour. So if it's terrible, you're only trapped in there for a short amount of time.
If it's bad enough, you can leave.
Yeah.
There is that. Yeah.
Well, I only had like 6 people in there.
That's pretty good for that size of con.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at proportionally, statistically, I don't know how many people we had at Pecan this year. I didn't hear attendance numbers.
I can remember a reading that Cedar did at LibertyCon that didn't have 6 people.
Yeah.
That included me.
139, Jonna says. So, yeah.
The con broke even, basically.
Con broke even. Excellent. Yeah, I think 139 is 20 more than we had last year. So this is a small growth.
Yeah.
So Jim has a rant.
Yeah.
Or an article.
It's not a rant per se, but this was in the paper here this morning. And I call it a kind of a good bad. But a church in Topeka, Kansas the First Presbyterian, is selling a Tiffany window,
Stained glass window.
stained glass window that was first installed in the early 1900s by Louis Tiffany Company. There are less than 40 of these things in existence, apparently. And this is apparently one of the ones called Alpha and Omega, and it's what's called a medallion window. And it's rather large, 14 feet tall, 5 feet wide. So the estimated value is somewhere between $4.5 and $12 million.
And $1 million of that's going to be safely getting it out of the wall and transporting it. Goodness.
Yeah, well, it's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
But
We'll do that safely.
And at least another $1 million is going to be modifying the house so that you can put that big a window in it.
yeah, well,
I mean, you got to
Wherever it goes,
house and,
it's unlikely to be going into a private residence.
Yeah.
It's more likely that it'll get bought and put into,
a museum or
well, probably
It's
not a museum.
it's a
Probably,
3-part window. So
yeah. Well, that'll make it a little
Yeah.
bit easier. So,
but the reason that they're selling it is the First Presbyterian has gone from 1,900 members to 362.
and that's from the 1960s to
Yeah.
now.
So they're financially strapped.
Yeah.
And
Well, and you had mentioned the other factor there is going to be insurance, because they're selling a Tiffany window, but they still have another Tiffany window.
yeah, they have two.
So the maintenance and insurance on those is not insignificant. And when you're down to 300 members, and reading through the article, the members that are mentioned and given ages are 89 and 98 respectively.
Yeah.
So I have been a member of tiny churches, but in this case, this was a church that had a large, beautiful building at one point.
Yeah.
And now you have a few people rattling around in this that almost certainly cannot afford to maintain the
Yeah.
building properly.
Kermit, they're seeing dollars, yes, for a reason. They want to invest it so that the church continues.
Yeah. They're talking about investing it in outreach to try and bring in new members.
And to maintain the building.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it is a historic building.
Mhm.
well, I'm just trying to imagine the insurance because there are a certain age of teenage boy
Yeah.
that rock and window seem to attract each other.
Well, a lot of those windows, they wind up putting protective outer window or shield up so that you can't easily do a rock, but a gun, a BB gun,
Yeah.
or some other high-powered gun.
Well, they're actually, it says in the
Uh,
article, they're going to replace the actual window with a
a replica.
replica, which will probably be made out of Lexan.
Yeah.
And this is the window that's the most available to the street. So
Right.
I can't fault them for what they're doing. I
Mhm.
understand it.
Yeah.
I hate to see it, but
It's sad. I mean,
yeah.
it's the passing of an era.
Yeah.
The churches that I attended, by and large, growing up, were very modest, because the ethos tended to be more towards using the monies in charity and supporting the community rather than in building a big fancy building.
yeah, Rick, this is in Kansas, so it's a traditional Presbyterian church, not the
Mhm.
woke version.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking she called that a tiny membership with the 193 left or whatever it is.
350.
362.
Left.
It's tiny compared to what it was, but I
Yeah.
have gone to churches where there was 10 or 12 of us,
Yeah.
maybe sometimes.
I grew up, the church I was in was the church in town, the only church in town. And everybody attended, whether they were a member of that denomination or not. Everybody attended, whether they were an atheist or not. It was also the social gathering place.
Mhm.
And the fullest I ever saw it was probably 50 people. That was everybody in the town and all the surrounding farms.
Yeah.
Dan, it is not a figurative window.
No, it's a medallion window.
It's
This
a
is
geometric design.
this is Tiffany's medallion windows. You can search them on the net. They are absolutely stunning,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't depict anything. They're basically geometric designs.
Yeah.
which are actually, in my opinion, prettier than the.
Oh yeah.
I think a well done figurative window. I mean, there's some amazing stained glass. There's stuff that I look at and I'm like, how did they do that?
Yeah, it's called the Alpha and the Omega. You can go find a picture of it on the net.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I mean, several $1 million will give that church quite a war chest to be able to keep them supported and going on for a while. And it's possible that we'll start to see more people attending church again. The events of the last few weeks has certainly had me rethinking non-attendance. But there are reasons that I don't attend.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Rick, the church was built in the early 1900s. So Tiffany was big, but not that big back in those days.
right. Yeah, it would have been a beautiful investment, but not as huge a chunk of money as it would be to do the same thing today.
Yeah.
So
Well, they were still making them back then.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
The other one, and before we get off on anything else,
Us, Rabbit Trail, never.
that actually makes me happy is that Ivanpah, which is the power plant up in northern Nevada that used what our guys that looked at it back in the early 2000s were calling old tech then. Natural gas to heat boilers and then use the sun's rays from the mirrors to make the turbine spin. And California dumped $2.1 million into this thing in the Mojave Desert.
2.1 million or billion?
Billion, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say 2.1 million sounds modest and doable.
Yeah. 2.1 billion.
Yeah.
Of which 1.6 of it came from federal government.
Yeah.
And they ran slap over the environmentalists because, oh, we have to build this, we have to build it now, and it's desert, so nobody cares.
Yeah. Desert is a delicate ecosystem.
Yeah.
That's what most people don't understand. They're like, oh, it's just dry and dead. No, it's not.
Yeah.
And what is surviving there is on the razor's edge of survival. You disrupt that and you're going to kill a whole lot more than if you come into some place that grows like weeds.
Yeah. And they basically screwed up over 1,000 acres.
Yeah.
Well, the other problem with it is that it was supposed to generate 352 megawatts of power per day.
Mm-hmm.
The best it ever did was around 70% of that.
Well, they forgot to account for the dust.
Yeah, the dust was one thing, and the other thing was the average power out of it over the period when it worked was 43%.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, because of the temperature, any bird that flew into the path of the mirrors turned into an instant flaming projectile.
Barbecue.
So they were killing, they counted, quote unquote, 6,000 birds a year. But they swore up and down they never killed any condors, they never killed any bald eagles.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
it's like the wind farms.
Yeah.
The wind farms go back and forth about do they kill birds. But the thing that raised my eyebrows was when I found out that where the big wind turbines are, they will not allow scientists to come and study what's basically falling down that's been hit, which includes bats. And bats are highly protected. And that tells me that they're doing a lot of damage and they don't want anyone to see what's happening. Anytime that you say, oh no, you can't come and look, because if you're going to come wander around on the ground under one of those things are huge. You're not in any danger.
Also, when they take them down, they have to bury them because there's no way to recycle them.
Exactly.
Right. And that's the thing is these are touted as being environmentally friendly and green.
They aren't.
And they are not.
Well, something I've noticed is green is another word for this is a scam that's going to hurt the environment, but it sounds good.
Yeah.
The word Jim used in his article is a good one, boondoggle.
Well, it's a great way for people who are friends with government toadies to make money.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
The funny part to me, one of them, was the fact that, and I was out in that part of the world doing stuff for the Navy back in those days, was that Barbara Boxer was one of the ones that pushed to close San Onofre, the nuclear power plant down by San Clemente, because of this new technology that was going to replace it.
Which was
Ivanpah.
Ivanpah.
Now,
she's heavily invested in that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know nothing. I wasn't there. Yada
Yeah.
yada yada.
Yeah.
But the interesting part of San Onofre was the fact that they had just upgraded the steam turbines in 2010 and 2011, and the replacements were leaking. So rather than go back to the company that built it and telling them to fix the issue, they decided to close it since this new technology was coming online.
Uh-huh.
So that got rid of San Onofre. Now we did some testing up at Diablo Canyon in 93. And Diablo Canyon was one of the other, well, still is, nuclear power plants in California. And between San Onofre and Diablo Canyon, they provided about 25% of the power requirement for the state of California.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were out there. Diablo Canyon was bringing number 3 back online, their third reactor. And the protesters were out in force every day down at the gate. So you had the old Volkswagen vans and the blue-haired ladies in their Volvos out there protesting all the time. And they had finally convinced California Coastal Commission that Diablo Canyon was a danger, so they were going to close it in 2025. And
Yes,
the state
to
of
the
California,
paid actors.
yeah, the state of California went, well, we can't afford to do that because if we do, then LA doesn't have any power or very little power. Yeah, funny that. So the California legislature extended Diablo Canyon's license to 2030. Well, the NRC had come in and reviewed Diablo Canyon, and they extended Diablo Canyon to 2045, which is 50 years, which
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
nominal length of a nuclear power plant.
We really need a lot more deregulation, and very quickly as it comes to building
Yeah.
nuclear plants.
But what I found was interesting, and you can see it today in the media in California, is how they are bragging that when they force Diablo Canyon to close, California will have no more nuclear power stations.
And it also made natural gas too expensive as well.
Yeah.
But they wanted to have electric powered cars, but that just got overturned.
Yeah. Well, and they can't put data centers in California because they don't have enough power for them.
One thing that always drives me crazy, as far as I can tell from what I've seen, the greenest power supply source we have in the United States, the very greenest,
Yep.
is nuclear power.
Mm-hmm.
And they always shut it down because it's not green.
Right.
Uh,
So, Raptor, I don't care about California. I live in Texas.
Yeah. The even better part though, because I got curious and did some digging, as I'm wont to do. Come to find out, guess who owns 25% of Palo Verde in Arizona?
Barbara Boxer or Nancy Pelosi.
Southern California Edison.
Yeah.
So they
Not
have
in my backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they buy power every day from Palo Verde Nuclear Power Station.
It's California. They don't make their own water. They don't
Yeah.
make their own power. They just take it from other people.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I mean, the rumor is that there's a data center coming in near Wichita Falls.
Yeah.
And there have also been rumors that not too far away from here that they're going to be building salt bed reactors.
Yeah.
And I will happily take the data center and its jobs if we can also get the nuclear power.
Yeah.
And lower electric bills, because my AC is electric.
Yeah. But the other interesting part is, since California does not outright own Palo Verde, when they have to go over their allocation, which is typical on peak power days, they have to pay commercial rates,
Mm-hmm.
which am not cheap. The other problem, and Bill says, from Mead Hall says, takes other people, covers a lot of things about California. Hell, they even try to keep taxing people after they leave.
Well,
Yes.
it's like when I was job hunting, there were two things that I always looked for, because I was looking for a remote position, but I would not even send an application to a company that was based in either California or New York, because I don't trust them to not try and charge me income tax, even though I don't live there.
Oh, they would have, because you work there.
Exactly. So I'm not. If the company's based in California or New York, I'm not even going to bother submitting an application. So
every professional sports team that plays games against a California rival has to take out California taxes for the game for all the players,
yeah,
even if they're not from California, because California charges them taxes.
Yep.
But the other thing they've got to deal with out there is California Coastal Commission, which is why California has no desalinization plant. Huh? Oh, they finally did get that one through?
John is saying that they have allowed one in San Francisco, but no more.
Yeah.
Since I know y'all can't hear her.
Which is, which is really interesting, because San Francisco has their own water supply anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the issue with the California Coastal Commission, because the Navy was going to put a couple in down there at Pendleton, was it would damage the views. So they wouldn't approve it.
I don't know about California, but in New Hampshire, you can be taxed if you have a view.
Yes.
And you can be taxed if you have the potential for a view. And it doesn't matter if those trees that you would have to cut down are on your neighbor's land.
Yeah.
Somebody might someday cut them down, and then you'd have a view. So you should be taxed now. There are reasons that I was not going to live in New Hampshire any longer than I had to.
Oh, so this explains our romance. You were trying to get away from New Hampshire.
Yes. But I was going anywhere, and you were handily there.
I was not aware of that. Rick, he says, it isn't just California. Every state with an income tax bills professional athletes. I was not aware of that. Thank you.
Well, I mean, they're going to get their money.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, with what we dealt with in Ohio is Ohio will tax you for city tax, school district tax, sometimes county tax, state tax. All of those are income taxes that you have to file every year in addition to your income tax. So I was filling out 5 tax forms some places we lived there in Ohio. It was ridiculous. I mean, yes, New Hampshire's property tax is egregious, but they don't have an income tax and they don't have a sales tax. So everything relies on the property tax. Ohio has sales tax and all of the income taxes, all of them.
Yeah. Well, the highest in the United States. Highest in the United States is New York City.
Yeah.
Because they have a city income tax, a state income tax, federal income tax.
Yep. Well, it's like my kid's in Connecticut, and he was saying that it feels like home because he was born and raised in New Hampshire. And I'm like, you do not want to live in Connecticut, kiddo. You need to look at the taxes there, and you do not want to live in Connecticut, because I think it might be number 2 in the nation. So yeah.
Well, they would charge, and Rick brings up a good point. His employer's in California, he's in Arizona. If he sets a foot in California for work,
Hmm.
he's got to pay California income taxes for that day's income.
Yep.
They tried to do that with us as government employees going out to meetings in California. And they also tried to claim pay for the sailors. The sailors got out from under it with Sailors and Soldiers Relief Act,
Hmm.
but we had to go jump through hoops, and they finally came down and said, no, these are federally tasked employees. You cannot charge a federal employee or a federally taxed employee with income taxes for the days that they are in California.
Differs. That's too broad. It's not property taxes theft. It's taxation is theft.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to figure out is if you took all the taxes that New Yorkers pay, as opposed to someone in, say, Dallas.
Yeah.
Take all the taxes off that New Yorkers pay, all the taxes from Dallas.
Yeah.
Eliminate that, and see what the cost of living is like between the two.
It's still going to be higher in New York City.
It
I mean, it
might,
depends
but
on what part of New York you're in. There's parts of upstate New York that are
bucolic.
more rural than here. I mean,
But no, I'm just saying, I wonder how much of the difference in cost of living in some of these places is
Yeah.
just because it's so high taxed compared to other places.
Yeah.
Looks like Dallas has the same taxes that Wichita Falls does, but the taxes are much higher in Dallas and the cost of living is much higher.
AJ points out that there is nothing so permanent as a temporary tax.
Yeah, had to pay an extra 4.5% city wage tax that was created as a temporary measure for World War II.
Well, the
Nothing so permanent as a temporary tax.
the national income tax was a temporary measure for World War One.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so what else do we have to rant about? Because this gets depressing fast. Oh, and I was,
Well, let me see the weather.
um,
There is I can think of more things to rant about than things not to rant about.
yeah. I came home from Pecan to almost 4 inches of rain in the rain gauge, and everything is growing, and I have to mow. And this isn't fair because I'm not supposed to have to mow at this time of year in Texas.
I either have to mow or I got to go rent a damn brush hog because there's so much rain that my yard is still mushy.
Yeah, yeah.
We normally in Texas, our grass turns dry and brown around the
4th of July, if not earlier.
Yeah.
I was thinking around the middle of June,
Yeah.
and it stays that way until late November. This year, it's green as a
It's been
gourd.
green. I mean, we really haven't had much in the way of grass fires.
Thank
was-
God.
Well, I was worried this spring because we
Yeah.
had all the rain, lots of lush growth,
Yeah.
and I figured that's going to dry out and we're going to have all kinds of fires because there'll be lots of fuel.
Yeah.
So it's Jesse, too much rain for natural yard control, whatever
Yeah.
floats your goat.
Yeah, float your goat literally. Yeah. That's an interesting point.
Floating your goat?
No, these
A gamma goat will not float. I'll tell you that right now.
the
I don't care
whole
what the army says.
the whole meltdown over the old Mauser rifles.
Oh,
Because oh my God, it doesn't have a serial number.
does it not have a serial number, or is it just old enough that nobody was keeping track of it?
It has no serial number because
Oh.
it was not required.
Oh.
Serial numbers were not required on guns made in the United States until 1968.
I was going to say, Sanford's Mosin has a serial number, but it wasn't made in the United States.
But that's a factory serial number. And I'm gonna guarantee you nobody tracked it.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it still has a serial number.
Yeah.
There's a difference, and somebody was talking about this probably on X about there's a difference between the gun has no serial number and the gun has a serial number but nobody's tracking it.
Yeah.
So
And
a lot of guns do have serial numbers, just nobody's paying attention to it.
Yeah.
Because that's not what it was for.
But it's like any of the older guns, the Mosin Nagants, anything else. These are 100-year-old guns,
Mm-hmm.
and the
Who knows who bought them in the first place and where they have been since
Yeah.
then.
I mean,
And
you could mail order them through catalogs.
yeah, Sears. You could
Yeah,
order all
Sears.
kinds of things through
Yeah.
Sears catalogs.
Oh, and by the way, just for the record, it is not Sandridge Mosin because my name is not on any paperwork. And that is true. I have never owned a gun. If you check my paperwork all across the United States, I have never owned a weapon.
No, Julie, you didn't miss it.
You caught us like halfway through.
Yeah. But the other thing is, the whole pundits out there. Oh, it was an expert marksman, and yada yada yada. Bullshit. In the average hunter can easily make that 200-yard shot. Wasn't actually 200; it was 140 something.
Mm-hmm.
That's well within the capability of pretty much anybody, even with iron sights. The military, the Army and the Marines used to train people on open sights with M16s at 300 meters,
350.
350 meters.
And by the way, you didn't start getting difficulty until you got out past 250.
Yeah.
And that was for anything under 200 was a clout shot.
Yeah.
That's how you got people that managed to get marksman badges without being any good.
Oh, Sir Brass, it's not just bolt action Mausers. It's the old Model 70 Winchesters.
The 30-30 that everybody
30-30s, yeah. You can make that shot with a 30-30. You qualified, Marines are qualified out to 500 yards maximum. Army quit doing that years ago. But the thing is, that was an easy shot.
I'm laughing at the excuse for having lost a gun. The
Gatorade, yeah.
So that's what Gatorade is.
Yeah.
Oh.
But the pundits just
they have no idea what they're talking about.
They don't.
Which doesn't stop them.
No.
So,
but it becomes it's almost funny at that point.
Yeah.
It's just like this crap in Dallas yesterday. Oh my God, another sniper. Professional sniper.
Beg to differ. He did not hit what he was aiming at.
Oh, he wasn't aiming at anything other than a van that he couldn't see into, and he was 30 to 40 yards away. So he was pot shotting the damn thing.
Okay, 30 to 40 yards. You don't even use sights.
I
mean, you don't.
I'm going to assume he had no idea what he was doing.
Yeah, but the pundits were saying, "Oh, another professional sniper." Really, dude?
So, on my blog today, I did a 2-book review, and it started with I had bought a book because it was on sale and because it mentioned espionage in the Cold War era, which is something I've been researching for a while for a book that I will be writing. But it's the autobiography of Frederick Forsyth.
Yeah.
Who went on to become a huge, massive bestseller, movies, all the things. He started out as a journalist.
Yeah.
And he goes through the first part of the book is him talking about the different places he worked and what he was taught. And he talks about working for Reuters when he was trained in you report exactly what you saw, no more, no less. And then he went to work for the BBC. And the things he has to say about the BBC in his very dry, understated British way are positively sulfuric if you know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
And he wound up quitting because he had they sent him to Nigeria and with a pack of lies. It was fascinating. That little section there is fascinating to read. And he wound up quitting because he could not stomach what they wanted him to do. and then he sat down. He was sleeping on a friend's couch, literally homeless, broke, and busted. And he decided that the best way to earn some money was to write a novel. He also says in the book, and I put a quote in my blog where he says that earning money from a novel is somewhere well below on the list of robbing banks.
Yeah.
So, but he basically ditched his journalism career because journalism had gone through that transition right there from we tell the story we want to hear from tell the story. And I then picked up his first novel that he wrote in those 35 days sitting on his friend's couch, which is The Day of the Jackal.
Yeah.
And you can see, or at least I could, having read the autobiography and then the Day of the Jackal, the investigative journalist writing in that style comes through it's very clear, it's very easy to read, and it's obviously fiction, and he's got character development in it.
Yeah.
And as a first novel, dang,
Yeah.
wow, the man could write. I'm looking forward to finding more of his stuff. And I mean, I know it's been around since I was born, but still.
Yeah, they want to know what the title of the book is.
Oh, the title of the book is called The Outsider: My Life in Intrigue.
Yeah.
And it starts out with him as a young boy, and he got a chance as a 6-year-old. Somebody picked him up and stuck him in the cockpit of a Spitfire.
Yeah.
And he wound up becoming an RAF fighter pilot because he fell in love with flying at a young age and did what he needed to do to pursue it.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the book, he comes back full circle, and it choked me up, even though he is very obviously, he's again with understated, but at 76, he got to fly a Spitfire, second seat. So it was just like he did what he wanted to do with his life, which I found very inspiring. But yeah, I know it was a really good book to read, and I think for an autobiography, it was an easy read, if that makes sense. But
He was a novelist.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of the old novelists they fought.
Yeah.
Alistair MacLean, Dick Francis, trying to remember, Tolkien.
Yeah.
And just recently reading C.S. Lewis talking about Tolkien.
Yeah.
Some of the really, really spectacular authors of the generation before mine, really, they fought in World War II or even World War I, or sometimes both.
Yeah.
And that human experience distilled into developing characters and in Tolkien's case, entire worlds.
Well, we're
Ian
science
Fleming.
fiction fans.
Yes, Ian Fleming.
We're science fiction fans. Think of how much effect Vietnam had on David Drake's writing.
Yes, yes.
Well, when I talked to David a number of years ago, he said that was his way of trying to send a message to people to stop the shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And he, like many others, would go back and take a battle out of history
Mm-hmm.
because he was a historian,
Yeah,
and he would turn that into a hammer slammer.
yeah.
Mhm.
But Redliners, David Drake's Redliners.
Yes.
Not an easy read. Basically autobiographical. Really, really recommend that one. That one. I mean, if you never read another Drake, but you should. Redliners would be it. So Kipling didn't necessarily serve, but he was with the military in India in particular, and that informed a lot of his stuff.
Well, and as Rick said, he lost a son in the trenches.
Yes, yes.
Well, and Kipling, while he may not have served, his social sphere
Mhm.
was all military.
And here's one that's really pertinent to modern events, especially in England. Churchill's The River War.
Yeah.
Which is a great read. He's a very clear, easy to follow writer. But that's the birth of the modern jihad.
Yeah.
It's the River War. So it's there are authors who their experiences informed their fiction in ways that I mean, I can't have those experiences, but by reading them and understanding where it was coming from, I think I gain a lot.
Yeah.
C.S. Lewis's point, I've been reading his essays about reading. And his point is that reading allows him to see the world through 1,000 eyes.
Yeah.
So,
Time on target. Yeah. The piloting books, or the books from the pilot's perspective, are very interesting because you see the dichotomy of moments of sheer terror and hours
Boredom.
of boredom.
yeah.
Ed Rasmus, and sadly, I only got to call him a friend for a very short period of time before he died. Ed was an Air Force fighter pilot. Flew F-106s, did Route Pack 6, which was the shots into North Vietnam. Excuse me. Flew over 100 missions in F-106s. Never got shot down. Came close, survived it. Came back and switched to F-4s, went back and did another 100 plus missions in Route Pack 6. So, two different perspectives.
Yeah.
But his first book was called When Thunder Rolled. Very good. Talking about his time in F-106s, or F-106s. The other thing he did was write a biography of Robin Owens. Very good. And he wrote it from the perspective of not only being a fighter pilot, but also as being a friend. I'm sorry, folks. Hack.
Well, you're a hack writer, so that's worked.
Thank you. Thank you.
So there's a book that I picked up, and I'm gonna have to look up the title for you. I can tell you the author's name is Mike Watson, and it was a little bit different perspective for me because it's Vietnam War,
Yeah.
special operations of Vietnam War, an Australian who was largely working with the Vietnamese, not the Americans. I think he did very little work, and in fact, did not have much of an opinion of the Americans.
That's friend of Larry's.
Is it? Yeah,
Yeah.
because I know that I came to the book through a recommendation from Dorothy, Dorothy Grant, and it must be under Mike Watson. Now you're coughing in stereo around me.
Sorry.
It's called Hunting in the Shadows.
Yes.
And it is quite a read. It is quite a read because it has all the action and adventure that you would want, and also a star-crossed romance.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, if you want authenticity in espionage and what do they call that? Asymmetrical warfare.
But it's not his real name, by the way.
Oh, no, of course not. I figured that out.
He's still alive.
I'm glad to hear he's still alive.
Yeah.
He must be something.
Yeah.
But that kind of thing, if you're writing science fiction or even fantasy of a certain flavor, those kinds of books will help you get the mentality of men who were not necessarily heroes.
Yeah.
Certainly not in Mike Watson's case.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call him a hero, but he did what needed to be done with the tools he had at hand.
Hey, James, welcome and congratulations on the new job.
Yeah, no, very good on the new job. Excellent.
Well, I want to interject something about heroes. Most of the heroes I've known have not considered themselves heroes. They considered themselves people who got really unlucky and managed to get lucky.
Yeah. Or as a friend of mine said, he said, I did my job.
Mm-hmm.
I did it in the company of heroes.
Yeah.
But I wasn't a hero.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of, I guess, where I was going with all of these novelists reading the Forsyth, who he did not serve, and he certainly wouldn't have considered himself heroic, but he put himself in danger and in some tricky spots so that he could tell the stories as authentically as possible because of that journalist training that he had. And that's something right there, because if all you do is you just completely make it up, it doesn't have the same ring as reading something that's based on people who've been there, done that.
Yeah.
So,
Sir Brass, Old's marriage was
Sanford.
I'm not going to say non-typical, because the divorce rate in the military has always been high.
Yeah.
It's even higher in wartime. We did one deployment. We had a 50% divorce rate when we came back off deployment. Not unusual.
Uh-huh.
The issue is that the women, by and large, had no support structure. They didn't have anybody to reach out to.
Right. Oftentimes you get married and you go where he's going, and
And he goes away.
then he goes away. And I mean, I probably not the one to talk about this, but mom dealt with this with 2 small children and a very handicapped baby. Dad wasn't deployed, but dad was temporary duty for about a total of 3 years where he could not take family.
Yeah.
And he was a few thousand miles away from us, about as far as you could get without actually being deployed overseas.
Yeah.
He couldn't be deployed overseas because it was a price on his head and because of what he did in the military. And mom, there was one phone call that dad got emergency leave and they shipped him back down because one of us kids, it was touch and go. And fortunately, things resolved. But trying to deal with that as a wife and a mother, especially with multiple young kids, is really, really rough. And some women just,
Especially when
I'm not going to say that anything against them necessarily, but yeah, absolutely. And they move frequently. The military generally doesn't set them down and leave them there for
2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Sarah nails it.
Mm-hmm.
Military spouses have to rebuild their lives and support system every time they move.
Yep.
Well, something else that we haven't mentioned is the fact that for the majority of military spouses, money is not readily available. They,
We were poorer than church mice because by the time dad got out of the military, I was almost 10 and he was a staff sergeant in the 1980s. So dad got into the military. They actually delayed his enlistment date a few days so that I could be born. So it's that was not a lot of money to be raising kids on, but it's that's the other thing too, Rick, which is that the serviceman's wife has to take over and make all the family decisions during a deployment. And then he comes home and he's extraneous to needs.
Yeah.
And being able to, I'm actually writing that currently in the novel I'm working on right now, which is a retired serviceman came home, did not fit in, took a position on a traveling spaceship, a trade ship, and trying to, the fact that they loved one another but they couldn't live together is a wrinkle that I'm trying to iron out for them.
Well,
that's
the military cost me a marriage.
Yes.
Because my old crew was killed in a plane crash, and my ex-wife could not deal with that.
Yeah.
Well,
and she retreated to the point that the preacher said, "Get a divorce."
Yeah.
And I had 2 small kids.
It's a rough lifestyle.
Yeah.
It really is.
I know a lot of military members. They get married 18 years old, going in the military. They're married for 20, 30 years and are divorced within 6 months of his retirement.
Yeah.
Because for 20, 30 years, he's gone away every 2 weeks and been gone for 2 weeks. And they have honeymoon for 2 weeks when he gets back.
Yep.
And they do that for 30 years. And then she's stuck with him all the time and they can't stand each other.
Or, as happened to a friend of mine when he retired after 28 years, after about 3 months, the wife looked at him and said, "Go get a fucking job."
Mm-hmm.
Booted him out of the house.
Yep. And it's based on those 2 stories that I wrote the character into my novel, because that's essentially what it was. But that's the thing, which is there's so many different variables on this. And it really depends on the people and the character and their level of understanding to the commitment going into it. And I think that's probably the biggest failure, is that I don't know how the military handles it now or then, but going into it, they need to understand what they're taking on, because it's not civilian life.
And James raises a point that a lot of people don't realize or think about. If a service member is in a leadership position, he has multiple responsibilities, not only the family he's married to, but the families of all the troops that work for him. And believe me, that can take a toll. I had a situation where I had a kid that worked for me that was, he was Puerto Rican, with all that entailed, including the whole macho bit, yada, yada, yada. And he was, I think, 21, married a 19-year-old little girl from Puerto Rico who was shy retiring, wouldn't have said shit if she had a mouthful.
The perfect Puerto Rican wife.
Yeah, perfect Puerto Rican wife. So we go on deployment, and come back 6 months later, and I see him. He rode back on my airplane. He gets off the airplane, goes over, hugs her, kisses her, and I see him walking toward the parking lot. And I see both of them go to the driver's side of the car.
Yeah.
And they yammer at each other, and then she finally walks around the passenger side. Well, about a week later, he comes in to me and goes, LT, I need to talk to you. What's up, Ramos? He goes, I'm having problems with my wife. And I looked at him. I said, let me guess. She's doing stuff, right? He goes, yeah, she's doing stuff without me telling her to. And I looked at him and I said, who the hell do you think managed your house the 6 months you were gone?
I'm actually laughing because I've worked with some Puerto Rican ladies, and they might have been like that on the but no, on the outside they might have looked that way, but they're not like that on the inside.
Well, she was young when they got married. Well, she did. I said, who paid all the bills? Well, she did.
Mm-hmm.
I said, who handled any problems? Because you weren't there, and we were only getting mail about once a month. Oh, yeah, she did. I said, so you expect her to go from being in charge to stepping back and letting you take over again? Well, yeah, that's, and I said, stop. I said, yes, that's your culture. No, your culture is not right. She's the one that's done everything to keep house and home together, while you've been screwing off on deployment. And he, well, I ain't been screwing off. I said, parenthetically speaking, you are.
You're not home.
Because
You're not helping out.
Yeah, you're not handling anything.
Yeah. Well, and that's the kind of counsel these kids need,
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I know
I
get stories from my kid, so I probably shouldn't tell them.
I will say that from what I observed in my time in the military, and I don't figure it's any different than anybody else, the best asset a leader can have is a wife that goes in and takes charge of the wives of the unit.
Yeah.
And okay, your husband's gone and you've got this coming up. How do you think you should handle it?
Yeah.
This is the way we have to handle it. This is who you could talk to about it because she did it last month.
Yeah.
Yep.
And basically mother hens the civilian troops as you mother hen the military troops.
Yeah.
The funny
that's
part was,
system.
I see them about 10 years later in 1998, because I was down in Jackson or something. They're still married.
Oh, good.
He's a chief. They got 3 kids.
Uh-huh.
Happy as hell. I mean, she was driving.
My wife drives us everywhere we go. When the only time she doesn't drive is when she's sick.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, Rick, I actually know of a case where that happened out of Hawaii, where a woman on the same submarine had a husband on the blue and the gold crew. So yeah, that happens.
But I mean, it's the whole. This is the thing. What somebody told me not to hero worship men in uniform. And I'm like, yeah, no, I grew up with
Yeah.
men in uniform. I know better. There are humans. You get
Yeah.
the gamut of the human experience, which includes you get the predators who are just there for the easy meal ticket
Yeah.
of marrying a guy in a uniform, or the guy that marries a lady in every port,
Yeah.
as the historic thing was about sailors.
Yeah. I
So
resemble everyone.
I would
The-
Never
never
got that lucky.
there's a book I read years ago, and I think the title is An Accidental Pirate, but it's the biography of William Dampier. And
Yeah.
he studied currents and was an interesting fellow. But he basically married a lady and then left for 11 years.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about 6-month deployments, 1-year deployments. No, he
Yeah.
was gone for
Yeah.
over a decade.
All right, let's talk about books that are coming up.
Yes, we have books.
Yes.
We have, so with Raconteur Press, we have Meteor Men that is now live. That is your boys adventure book. It has history, mystery. It does have ties to military, but I'm not going to spoiler the book. You have to read it.
And
yeah.
who wrote it?
And that one is written by Scott Shad,
Yes.
the world's most interesting geologist. And knowing his background, which I didn't know when we accepted the novel,
Yeah.
made a whole lot more sense. The novel did. The scope of everything he'd put in there. Once I found out what he's done with his life, it's fascinating. So then, and the other one is the second book from John Van Stry. It's Two Hand. It's the sequel to Misplaced. It's the next book in the Valley of Fire series, which is set in the same universe as his Wolfhound series. And actually in book 2, there is a direct tie back to characters in the Wolfhounds. So if you haven't already picked up the serials, the full novel is now available with bonus material, different illustrations than you will have seen in the serial, and a spiffy new cover, if I do say so myself. So anything else that we need to announce?
I think that's pretty much it.
Oh, you still have a few more days on the Library Creatures Anthology open
Yes,
call.
please.
Jim needs
I have
books or stories,
I have a
rather.
total of 2 stories so far, hers and mine. I would like a few more, like 8 more at a minimum.
Would be good.
Yeah.
So if you have a story that you can write in the next few days, or that maybe is banging around in a drawer that involves a library and a creature. Creature is very
Nebulous.
Yes.
Whatever creature you want.
So.
Yeah, Bill, we'll talk. But basically, the people that I talked to are more than willing to go to $200. So we'll put something together. John's writing is interesting. I've been lucky enough to be able to beta read every one of them. So
yeah,
and I kind of cheated because I knew what was coming.
Well, and for me, because I do the covers, I was doing the covers for the Wolfhounds book, which is that series is wrapped up now. So I don't always read the books when people send things to me to do covers.
Yeah.
I need the synopsis and some descriptions so that I can set the cover up properly. But I don't usually have time to sit down and read the whole book.
I, on the other hand, her husband, who has access to everything.
John's books I read because I'm looking forward to them.
Well, the funny part is we had actually discussed that novel series 5 years ago at dinner one night.
Yep.
Before he ever wrote it.
Yeah, and it is a fascinating universe that he's built. He's got some really interesting things, and reading through Wolfhounds, it was interesting to see him pull all the threads and tuck them in.
He's not done yet.
Oh, I know he's not done yet. But for just the Wolfhound series, for that 6-book arc, watching him weave that arc together as he went along was really interesting. And I like spin-offs. I have to say, it's nice to see spin-offs, which is what he's doing with Valley of Fire, where you get to come back and you get to revisit some of the characters you really liked, but you're reading fresh new adventures. Some series jump the shark and they just keep going on, and it's
Honor Harrington
bigger and it just, I mean, you go from save the cat to save the universe in escalation terms, and then where do you go?
say the next door neighbor universes. I
Right.
swear sometimes.
But
Yeah.
so it's nice to see an author deftly handle the let's do a series and okay, it's time to break it and spin off into something else so I can explore different things. And John is very good at that. He's
Yep.
done that multiple times. So
And Tuesday, if things work right, we'll have 2 guests.
and I will be sitting over there quietly painting and listening because I'm looking forward to hearing those 2 guests.
Potential guests are going to be Gordon Fry and Taylor Anderson.
I cannot wait to hear the 2 of them go.
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting. They have been friends for over 30 years. So
Yeah.
the amount of knowledge that they have in acting, reenacting, historical military, it will be well worth it just to hear them talk.
If you can't catch the live stream, you can always
Yeah.
watch it later. If you wait until more than 24 hours after the initial stream, you'll
That chat
get
comes
the
in, yeah.
you'll get the chat and the comments as well, because we are not always good about reading the chat comments that we're responding to.
Yeah.
So we know that sometimes you might want to wait until you can see the chat and figure out what the heck we're talking about.
And quite honestly, we don't. We try to scan through the chat as we're talking. We don't always respond to it, but we do appreciate it.
It has a life of its own.
And some people, I know for a fact, don't even bother to listen to it. They just mute us so they can read the chat. So you're out there. We know who you are.
Uh-huh.
And they have noticed that the chat starts long before the actual show starts.
Oh yeah.
So the other series, speaking of series, there will be a new book out very soon in the Shikari series from Alma Boykin.
Yes.
And as always, her world building is just amazing. I just read back through the Shikari books so that I can do the cover for book number 7. I did the first cover, and then she had a cover artist she was working with that has since retired. So I'm trying to match his style, which is a challenge, and I need to get that to her soon because I know she wants to get it out in a couple of weeks. But if you haven't already read the Shikari book, start now because there'll be a new one soon.
Yeah.
So.
And Fred Hughes has a new one out, and again a different series.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone into the lit RPG this time.
Yeah, and he's another one that is very deft about ending a series. Yeah. I didn't read it, but Sanford was saying very happy things about.
Well, he killed off his protagonist in the last book of the first series.
That's a major spoiler, honey.
Yeah. But this is called The Reluctant Emissary. And the series is Humanitaries Janissaries. First book is out. If you're a Kindle Unlimited reader, it's $0. And it's a good one. I've already read it. I can't.
Oh, Shikari is,
Rick, S-H.
Yeah, Rick has it spelled correctly.
Yeah.
And it is, her world building in that is based.
It's factually based.
Yeah, it is. And she talks about that at the end of the books in a couple of cases. But it is based on India and the colonization of India.
Dungeon Crawler Carl is another one.
Yeah. I somebody recommended Wraithwood Botanist to me. And I got about 10 pages into it before I realized that the author was not a gardener and was not a botanist and frankly didn't care to do research. And I was all done with that one.
Yeah.
No. I tend to bounce off of lit RPGs because if there's stats in the story, it throws me out. So I know some of them don't put the stats in, but I will probably try to read Fred's though.
Fred does. He doesn't put stats in.
Yeah. Fred's good.
Anyway, folks, we're going to call it a day. Have a good weekend. Be safe. And hopefully we can pull everything together for Tuesday. And remember, don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't pet the sweaty stuff. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.